Welcome to the Momentum Trading Group weekly outlook. What we want to cover, first thing we want to cover here is just kind of what news announcements we should anticipate kind of for the week ahead. You'll notice here on Forex Factory, it has the date here. So for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, we just want to get an idea of what volatility we could see. First thing we want to pay attention to is going to be the red here. So you can see here in about an hour, if you notice the clock here, it's set to 2:32. That's going to correlate back to this time frame here. You'll also notice it right there. So here in a few hours, you're going to start seeing some numbers start coming out. We're going to pay attention to basically our three major world currencies, which is going to be the yen, the euro, and the US dollar, just to get a feel for, what could obviously impact the carry trade, the dollar against the yen carry trade, or other markets, just see when key things could be possibly going on. So for Monday, what we have right now that's scheduled, nothing major in the US, but we do have Draghi speaking at 7 a.m. That will be a market mover for the euro. Basically, he's the equivalent of Yellen here in the United States. Tuesday, again, some more numbers that will be coming out. And then we do have monetary policy with Japanese yen. So that's going to be a potential huge mover, as well as PPI and Fed chairman speaking. If you'll notice later in the week, Wednesday, we'll have crude inventory. So that will have an impact on the oil trade. Housing permits, FOMC meeting minutes, which we know is a big mover. And then later in the week, Thursday is going to be our big news day. You can see here we've got some things with the euro, as well as CPI, core CPI, unemployment. So those are going to be big movers, all at 6:30. So an hour before the market opens, as well as, or right as the market's opening, as well as the Philly Fed index, existing home sales, and then another FOMC speaker, and then Draghi speaking on Friday. So these are some things that will definitely be moving the markets this week. So be careful and cognizant of that. If you go to forexfactory.com, you can see these same reports just to get an idea of time. Now we want to look at the overall broad markets and kind of identify some key levels for kind of support zones, resistance zones, areas where we could see the market pull back to, kind of our overall outlook. You can see that across the board, we're in uptrends with all of the broad markets. These are 30-minute chart. So we're going to go ahead and just draw some basic boxes here. You can see where this had been resistance. So now this is kind of acting as a new support zone, that 2020 price. And then you can see up here near the top here, this is kind of our critical range that we're trading in on the S&P right now. And you'll see how we're trading actually near those highs on the S&P currently. So we would anticipate it to get back up into the zone and retest and see if it fails. If it does, it could possibly pull back into some of these zones here. Do the same thing on the Dow here. Again, same key level right through here, the 17,400. And then at the top side here, we're seeing it right through there. And again, all we're doing is we're trying to identify. So here's the NASDAQ. You can see the NASDAQ has been tentatively the strongest market. It's right at its highs. So the momentum of the market, we would say, is clearly still upwards as it relates to momentum. You can see this resistance level, this old ceiling, is acting as new support. So just getting a comfort level of these boxes, and then we'll do the Russell as well. Even though we don't trade the Russell, remember all the wheels on the bus will be going in the same direction. You can see how we definitely have more of a flat or sideways market for the Russell than these other markets. So those would be our boxes right there for the key levels. NASDAQ, that's going to be 2020 by 2040. The S&P. The NASDAQ, that's going to be 4080 by 2225. We are at some support here, kind of in the middle. It'll be 1160 by 1190 on the Russell, and then roughly 17,400 or 450 on the Dow, as well as 17,700 on the Dow as far as highs. We'll do the same thing for oil as well. So let's go ahead and expand this chart out. We'll go to a 30-minute view just to get a kind of our broad base view here. Change our data series so we can get plenty of time. Go 20 days. Apply. Some kind of key levels here. You can see how this chart does look completely different. You can see here we've got kind of a current resistance zone. We've traded higher than that. We've also got another resistance zone up in here. And then we've got a support zone down in this range here, $74. We'll zoom out just to see how that those numbers kind of play in here. So again, it's traded much higher as far as 82, but you can see how this zone here played out back through here. So that's kind of a pretty key level to watch what happens when this interacts with that 76 price. But this definitely is a bottoming pattern. If you zoom out to a kind of a daily view, you'll see how commodity prices have clearly been pushing lower. So as we zoom out here, you can see how this is kind of creating a bottom. On a daily view, kind of a key level here to be aware of is going to be right through here, this zone, 86. So with this thing bottoming, it's going to come back up into this level here, most likely, maybe a little bit lower. I want to see how this is going to interact with this zone right through there, that 84 price. That's going to be kind of a key level. So same thing here. When this was resistance, we did have a support level right back through here on the daily. You can see it right through there. So probably going to come up, pull back, and then give us another bounce back up this direction. If this is going to be a bottoming pattern on oil, let's go ahead and change this back to a 30-minute. So you can see kind of our key boxes as it relates to price there. That would be kind of our range. So carry trade, let's go look at that. Forex markets are open. So again, they're 24-hour market like futures. And you can see here that we've had a major uptrend. This is 108 by 116 here. So we've had an 8-cent move over. Basically, the month of November has been straight up in this this level here. So we want to go ahead and just add some boxes here as well. Kind of see some key levels. You can see how this had been resistance right through here. So we would carry that over and say that 115 area is going to be acting as support. And then we do have a resistance point up in this area here. So we'll see how it interacts here. Overall, the trend is up, so we would anticipate this. If you go look at this on a daily chart, you can see how this thing's really been moving higher. Kind of a key level on a daily chart. If you wanted to zoom out and look at that, would be these levels right through there. You can see how we're well above that. When that was acting as resistance and it was retested as new support, that was resistance. So old resistance becomes new support. So if we were to insert a shape there, this could also be a key level, 110 on that. So if we zoom in there, you can see back down in this zone would kind of be, so this would be our high, this would be kind of our midpoint, and this would be ultimately on a daily chart where this would pull back, could possibly be back into this range. So this would be a really good buying opportunity. I doubt we're going to see that. But again, when you go back to the actual reports, right here, this monetary policy statement and Bank of Japan press conference, right through here, tentative times. What they're doing is they're not actually releasing. They don't want people to be able to really trade off this. So that's why the times are tentative. And rather than these ones have fixed times that data is going to come out. So there's going to be a lot of volatility on this. It should be after 11:30, but really at any point throughout the day, you could see that being a major factor. It's going to create a lot of volatility. They're going to come out and say what they're going to plan on doing with their currency and a lot of those types of things. So setting up for the week, though, let's go ahead and go back to our primary charts. If we go ahead and look at the S&P here, let's go to a shorter time frame now. So we're going to change this to a 5-minute chart. You can see here, now looking at this, you can see how that's clearly been resistance. You can also see down here where we've clearly had some support. But the keynote, another level here, if you notice right through here, you can see this has acted as support. Really kind of been channeling in this upper range here. So in setting ourselves up for the week, we definitely want to be aware of those key levels in price, how the market reacts relative to those key levels, 32 by 42, so about a 10-point range, which we had seen. You can see overall the market had been pretty much in that range for the last week. So we just want to kind of get a feel for what we can anticipate. We're heading higher up into these highs, so we'll see what happens once we get into these levels. But this is going to be kind of our outlook for the week as it relates to the S&P. Change our time frames here on the NASDAQ. You can see how those boxes have pretty much remained true, but here we're up near those highs, so relative strength is we are definitely more bullish on the NASDAQ than the S&P. Russell, on the other hand, let's zoom into a 5-minute chart here. You can see very clearly that this is a key level down here. We did not get that pop up to those highs like we did with the NASDAQ and the Russell. And then let's look at a 5-minute on the Dow. And you can see even here, we take this box and we slide it up. Let's wait for that to populate here. Go ahead and draw another box here. You can see kind of these key levels right through there. So we're just setting ourselves up for the week. Go ahead and delete this box here. Remove that. So you can see that's kind of our current box on the Dow. And get a feel for what we anticipate the markets to do and pay attention to those key levels. But overall, again, the last few days really been sideways through here. We've had some lows. It's retested some of these lows and had a nice bounce. And right now we're trading within this range. So looking for buying opportunities somewhere at 17,580 is going to be a good key level. And then seeing how it interacts. This box, actually, we would probably want to even slide this down. To encompass these highs here. Right through there. Even though this is an extreme in price action, you can see the consistency of hitting up into this level. So how the market interacts with the 17,630 is going to be crucial for us this week, because that could potentially take us to all-time highs on the Dow. So weekly forecast, these are what we're looking for and paying attention to these key levels. And again, we want to see all the markets moving together in the same basic direction. Again, the overall trends are still up. If we were to zoom back out and you guys could see kind of our larger time frames on the 30-minute, you can still see how we are in this uptrend. So we want to pay attention to those key levels on our 5-minute chart. So support and resistance on this chart, prevailing trend on the 30. Hopefully this has been informative, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the live trading room tomorrow.